to a two-part video on creating a watermark image in Photoshop that you can then import and use in Lightroom. So here is part 1, creating an image in Photoshop. Part 2 you'll find in the Lightroom videos section. So let's start with an A4 new document, and for this I'm going to go to File and New. I'll just bring that in so you can see it. I'll just leave it set to A4 and then we'll put some text on it. So we'll start off with, well, let's start off with my name. We'll start off then with Ken Fisher. Not very original, I admit, but there it is. And let's have a bit better font. So let's have a look at this. Just have a total through here. Maybe something like that. Yeah, I quite like that. Probably a bit bigger. Let's go up to say 60. That's looking good. I'm going to accept that as my starting point. You can see in the layers panel now I've got a layer, a text layer for Ken Fisher. Let's have another text layer underneath and we'll type photography. Now it needs to be a bit smaller, so we'll drop the size of that down to say 30. Just put it in the middle. And what I'd like to do is even out at each end, so it goes up to each end and just space the letters out. So to help me with that, I'll use a couple of guides. So I'm going to go into the rulers and I'm going to drag out a guide and put it at that side, and drag out a guide there and put it at that side. And then I'm going to make sure that the photography word layer is active. And I'm going to go to my character palette. Now my character panel is here. There we go. And what I'm going to do is just try and stretch it out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just this T here. If I click, I can type in this little box, but basically there's a scrubby slider. So I can click and drag it and it will just start to space out them letters. I'm just going to keep going until I get it right up to the edge. Probably there, just drag it that way a little bit, and then a little bit more. Possibly just a tidge, a bit too far. Right, yeah, I'm going to be happy with that. Okay. And probably it's a bit big, so what I'll do, I'll change the font type. So I'll take that down to say a condensed font. That's better. Liking that. And we'll make that a bit smaller as well. Ooh, maybe not that small. Something like that. And then we'll do the same thing again. We'll make that a little bit smaller and just drop it down so it fits. So we can bring a couple of guides in as well to do this, just to make sure we get it spot on. Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad for a guess, that really. And we'll take that just up a little bit. And let's just change the colour of, say, my surname. I'll just highlight that, go to the colour picker, let's say pick a nice blue, and then we'll accept that. Alright, it's not weirdly original, but it'll do. So we've now got some text. Let's have a think about maybe a bit of line art. So what I'm going to try is to use one of the custom shapes, and if we go down here, click on custom shapes. If you go up to the tool options and click this little down arrow, you can see you've got a load of shapes. Now I've already added in some extra shapes, and if you go to this little cogwheel here and load in film, it'll ask you, do you want to replace the current shapes or append? Well, if you click append, it'll just add those shapes in. And the one I'm after is this little one. It looks like a little piece of film, little piece of acetate. So I'm going to click on that, and then we'll start up here and we'll click and drag it round, and we'll have it there. Right, we'll change its colour to black. So I'll just double click on that and we'll change the colour to black so it looks a bit like a film. And that's not looking bad. I'll just get rid of those guides by pressing Control and semicolon. That's pretty good. Right, if you look now in the layers panel, you can see that we've got our text layers and the shape layer, and we've got the background layer, which is white. Well, if I switch that background layer off now, you'll see that I've got a lot of transparency, which is what I want. I want to be able to put this maybe on a website, on a white piece of paper, where I don't necessarily need all that white. So first thing I'm going to do is just trim it down a little bit, because I don't need all this transparency on an A4 piece of paper. So what I'll do, I'll go to my crop tool and I'll just crop it down. It doesn't matter if I just leave a little bit around the edge, because it's all going to be transparent anyway when I've finished. Okay, I'm going to crop that now. Right, quick word about file types. Now I'm going to save this as a PSD so that it saves all my layers and it's like an archive if I ever need to go back to it. So I can go File, Save As. I'm going to save it into my Learning Photoshop folder and I'll call it Logo, and I'll save it as a PSD file. Okay, just to show you the difference, I'll now save it as a JPEG. So I'll File, Save As, but this time I'll save it as a JPEG and then I'll save. And then finally I'm going to save it as a PNG or a PNG file. File, Save As, but this time I'm going to select PNG or the PNG format and then click OK. Right, let me just go and open both of those up. So we'll open and then File and Open, and we'll open the JPEG one. And what you can see has happened is, if we go to the JPEG one, which we've got here, it's filled all that transparency back in with white. We've still got a flat file, but it's now filled it all in with white, and that's not what I want. I want transparency. Now, JPEG format does not support transparency. Whereas the PNG, if I go and show you this PNG file now, you can see I've got this checkerboard pattern. So everywhere where there's checkerboard, I can actually see through, because the PNG format does support transparency. So to summarize, you can make a logo up out of any text, any font. You can combine it with line art, shapes and any images. And if you do want transparency, then you have to save it out as a PNG format for use later in Lightroom. Okay, I hope that was helpful. If you want to follow this along with video 2, that's in the Lightroom section, and that'll be actually using this logo as a watermark in Lightroom. I hope that was useful. I'll see you in the next video.